Greetings. I am Queen of the Stars, coming to you from the liminal space where time isn't linear and multidimensional frequencies are alive and present, emanating from me to inspire truth, authenticity, balance, liberation, and cosmic alignment. True to my name, I travel the stars and cosmos far and wide through my emotional technology and have created this podcast to prophecy. In other words, to declare or foretell through divine inspiration. This podcast is going to involve time travel, jumping past, future, and parallel timelines to share wisdom and inspired journeys from resonant souls and high vibrational beings. Queen Prophecies is a conscious act in service of all on their unique paths to assist in the upgrades and activations at this precise moment on Earth. Sit back and enjoy the frequencies. Beloved multidimensional beings, today we are traveling far and deep to commune with inner Earth beings and to be witness to the wisdom of the ancient waters of Lake Atitlan. We are also going to be dipping our toes into themes of Egypt, ancient Atlantis, and the current state of consciousness in what is considered the spiritual or awakened communities both here on the lake and worldwide. Spoiler alert, so many have strayed from their actual soul purpose here. And in just over a month in this new grid point in Guatemala, I have felt the stirring in the volcanoes and also a massive stirring within me to share these truths that can serve as hints and revelations to you at this pivotal time of self-reflection. The waters do not lie. They reflect the truth. All eyes are on our planet's story as it continues to unfold, unravel, and I know it is time to look deeper within and see what needs to be seen so that you may remember how ancient you and this planet actually are. This episode is sponsored by my new membership portal over on www.dragonslovecacao.com. I'm not going to say any more. It's dragons, it's cacao, it's my heart's desire and purpose right now. So please give it a look and join portal number 1 and use the code Guatemala for just a few more weeks and you will receive $100 off the full price. Now let's dive into this new channeled conversation. First episode recorded in Guatemala. A conversation with Ivan Teller. May it serve your path to remembrance.
Grease you. We are inner earth energies. We also have a connection to Archangel Gabriel. So the waters there of Guatemala are healing energies. There's a lot of medicine work there, as you know. It is basically even early Atlantean, as you know, Lemurian, where the earth was healing itself. It was always working with itself. And of course, humans in the past did not want to be healed anymore. They wanted to stop the healing and to go within to another side of themselves, as you see, a darker side. It's like we can be perfect beings forever, but what else can we be? So it was all turned off slowly. And that was done before any Atlantean being showed up or any, it was even before the Lemurians, actually. This world was going to test society. So it was setting itself up. The Atlanteans helped, and the Lemurians, and of course, other cultures help where you are today. So you can figure, experiment. So the earth can always heal itself instantly, especially with all that's happened here. The earth is very powerful, as you know. It works through you individually, all of you that wants it, and you can feel it. But there is a blockage because humans are in the middle of their schooling, their teaching, as you know, which is brave of the society to do that, of the human race. It's a lot of bravery here. No matter, everyone's brave here, really, as difficult as it is. Some, yes, they can't take it anymore, but still, there's still bravery energies. So, yes, if you'd like to ask a question, please.
Firstly, I'm very, very grateful to connect with you today, and thank you for, thank you for your energy, your presence, and the wisdom that's going to come through. I do have some questions. I specifically would love to ask for the waters to speak. The Lake Atitlan, Lago Atitlan, it even, when I say it, I feel like it's moving in me, it's activating.
Yes.
So anything that the waters want to speak to us, to our hearts.
Well, the waters are there to for you to remember yourselves, to remember why you came here, So it is a refresh energy for the challenges here. So the challenges are necessary, but the reset, you can say, with the lake's energy to, you can be around the lake as long as you like to be, and you feel renewed. That's why so many are attracted to spring waters, and realize those of you that go to around the spring waters or the lakes or the oceans, you are healing those that cannot be around those places. They are doing other missions on Earth, other challenges. We are sending, you're bringing in that energy within you, but then it's reflecting out to those that are needing. So when you feel like a pull to go to the beach all the time or to the lake, it's not just for you. It's for everybody.
I feel that. I feel that deeply. Being very connected to the water my whole life and having water in my name. My last name means of the river. So I feel like the water energy here, specifically in Lake Atitlan, to me, it's got a lot of memory. It's got a lot of the timelines of Earth that we have forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
Before, like you said, before Atlantis, before Lemuria even. But could you give us a little rundown, a little bit of the timelines, or I guess the most important points in time that this water has recorded that we have really forgotten?
Well, first off, about your name, yes, it's about the water, river. It's also moving. You're always moving. So it always has. So that's why you're always traveling. You're a traveler, and so you bring water energies with you everywhere you go. So yes, before Atlantis and Lemuria was just basically peacefulness here, a reset of the earth, an earth that many don't really remember. Eventually they will, but all the animal beings that you see here all had a humanoid version of themselves here at one time. The foxes, even the bears, they all had some kind of interaction here in some dimension. It might not be, some of that might be a little heavy for some to handle, but those worlds do exist. You see it in children's fairy tales and all of that. It's like, it's not just telling you about inner earth, it's telling you about what your world used to be. Humans talking to animal beings. And of course, you didn't call them animal beings, but that's your connection to the universe, of course. It was, of course, always humanoid beings, but I think you have an idea. So you're connecting back to what modern world calls, a strange universe, basically all types of alien beings, caterpillar beings, spiders, and more of it just is everywhere. And they all have something to say. Some of them are quite large. So it's just that it turned all of that off so you can remember everything. So they wanted to be interesting, just, help develop the human and learn about ourselves in a different way. So your friends and families from your past or your animals currently, as many know, birds, even if there's a bird outside that you feel connected to, most likely that's a relative. So.
I'm feeling also the bird energy a lot in terms of the avians, the humanoid birds that are a part of our galactic brothers and sisters. I feel their energy really strongly in this part of the world. Are they very present here, the avians?
Yeah, they have, you can say, their nest there. Their Akashic knowledge is there. A lot of how they're developed through the human. They say some of them are reluctant to go through the growth that they went through. to help humanity. Humans would make it easy. So it's like the humanity you think of. They say they needed the avians to assist with their growth. So we need you here as we forget everything.
Mm.
And that's the other thing, which is not mentioned often, but has been mentioned, is as you all remember everything of your ancient past, and then it's all forgotten. It's like, be here when we start to remember again. And the avians, it's like, yeah, but, you know, they're going to be part of their human journey, and they went through a great deal, as many other alien species did. The Pleiadians, the Syrians, and so on. So you can say the avians have a side of relief as humans begin to remember themselves again, remember their contracts. But they went through a lot of challenges. So it's like what I've received from the avians, like humans can't remember fast enough. Sometimes forgot it so much. It's just so challenging for them. They're not listening. Humans aren't listening to us, and then the avians get challenged by each other. It's like, oh, humans are just yeah. Well, because humans are also, as you know, emotions and all worries and all of this stuff is developed as a blockage from the higher astral. It's all done by design. You can say it's a manipulation, but it was all agreed upon. So you can't remember anything. But now you're reactivating everything. So you being where you are is part of the act as part of the amnesia wearing off.
For me and others.
And others. Mm-hmm. That's really what this is all about. Is people talk about the new earth, but it's really about amnesia. No longer. So that's what's happening.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm wanting to segue into, can you please tell us about some of the guardian souls, the guardian energies and frequencies, alien or not, that are present here at this sacred lake?
Well, there are, of course, dragon beings that don't want to be known to. I mean, there's little dragons there's large ones. The little ones are the more prominent ones. They're the ones that connect to the children. The children usually see them. They might. Either way, when a child starts laughing and all that, it's like that definitely saw a dragon being. I don't know where. I was like, what are you laughing at? There's also gnomes and fairy beings. The fairies are known to get people to go places and to get there, similar to like what you've been through, to get you to move locations. I believe they have something to do with that too. There's also Nordic beings, Pleiadian beings there. They're getting an education of how because humans go through a lot of darkness in that area also. But also the Guatemalan energies are there to heal the aliens too. It's just
the Pleiadians are learning from the humans.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Or it's both ways.
Yeah. It's both ways. The aliens are because the aliens have to lower their energy to contact a human, and when they do that, they can feel the fears and all of that, and even they start getting fearful themselves. It happens. It might not be for a very long time, but they connect to step into our energy field. It's like, wow, it's just all this, it's like going to a museum every time they connect to a person. It's all this conflict they're going through. It's quite fascinating. Because in the higher dimensions, you're a simpler being. When you're here on Earth, you become extremely complicated. And that's why many chose this incarnation. So,
can you tell us a little more about the dragons that are connected to the specific volcanoes here surrounding the lake? If anyone make themselves known.
Well, those are Garthian volcanoes. The dragons, yes, do have their fire that comes through the volcano sometimes. What the world knows, you can say the world's on a time, a time stamp. It's a timeline where volcanoes will erupt and change their energies. So you can say that the volcanoes are also there to warn people of change is on the way. Your way of life is going to have to be different soon. And that's tough. So dragons are good teachers where they're just, yes, they're hard headed. They have to be. I mean, they don't always want to make a change here, but somebody has to, so many beings become lenient. Oh, the humans are fine. Just leave them be. It's like, no, we need to change things.
Dragons aren't lenient, are they?
Not really. No, not the more powerful ones. They know better. They know change is inevitable. And of course, a lot of people don't like change, but change is necessary. So and you're seeing changes in the global, for the world, and it's cutting out energies that want to stay in the old timelines, and you're going into the new. So yes, many changes are on their way. Of course, they can't go into detail. That would the roadmap builds as you go. It'd be nice to open up a map and see where you're heading, but in this world, you never know where you're heading. That's the point. That's why so many souls are terrified to come here, because usually they know point A to point B, sure, but here, even Palladian beings, these alien beings, they know they know when a test is coming, and they talk to their friends about it. So this test is on its way. I'm not sure if I can handle it. So they get prepared for it. When you're human on your world, you have no idea.
You're more like, what's a test? What's a test? Yeah. I thought this was just supposed to be fun.
Yeah. Of course, on Earth, it's one test after the other. It's like one bumpy road after the other, isn't it?
Yep. So I'm curious, today is actually Mayan New Year. One of the calendars that we go by here, and the new year starts today, like as we're recording this, and it's the energy of the deer. So I wanted to know if you could tell us any specific messages about what the energy of the new year that we're working with, how can we align with it to get the most out of this new cycle?
Well, over time, it'd be less challenges and more growth. A growth where you connect more to your the spirit realms. Of course, there'll still be human challenges. That's inevitable, but it become less and less over time for those that are connected to that timeline as where you are. So you are being there is like it's like a blueprint. You're imprinting yourself with that timeline. And so, yeah, think of it like you see timelines around the world. Sometimes you have to move to a timeline to be on that time.
Physically, even.
Literally, physically, yes.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be in California, it's not going to go into the ocean, but some would feel it maybe as best as it did, but it's not going to. But you moving where you are, or anybody moving, yeah, you have to physically move to a timeline. And so you don't have to go through a lot of the Earth's challenges, but you're here to do energy work on the planet. So you have a different type of challenge, but it's, you help others remember yourself. So you're always working with the Earth, and many do feel that. Some feel like they're getting ahead of themselves, feeling the new Earth is here right away. It's here, but some can see it because they're living it, but obviously the rest of the world is still finding their way there. You can say it's kind of like a finish line, but others are still running the race. So like where you are, you share that energy with others. So those that you connect with, they can connect to that timeline through you. So, and it's whoever you send that timeline energy towards also. It's like, wow, those are people going through a lot of challenges. Maybe I'll send some energy there. So I'll send my timeline to them
Mm.
to calm things down, if permitted. A lot of times it is.
Wow. It definitely brings a whole new perspective to how I have seen my grid work and my travels, and I do know that I've shifted even deeper into the service realm, especially in 2021, and this year feels like a completely different octave of helping others, but from a place of we're all in this together anyways. Like, I do want to see more people aligned and remembering and opening their hearts again, because it's been challenging, and we've done so many lifetimes and dances on this planet, and we deserve a life where we actually get to see and reap the fruits of our labor, of all these other lifetimes where we've also done a lot of beautiful preparation, kind of intermittent work here.
So where you are now, see what challenged you, it's not call it a challenge, but it's a challenge of knowing. It's a challenge of knowing where humans can be and where they can go, but also realizing humans have to go through what they have to go through. So that's where you're stepping into that. It's like it's kind of like a spirit guide's position. It's like, wow, I see this paradise reality, but the human still has to go through, I won't call it torment. For some it is. So, but you're just bringing that peace and tranquility. You can say that helps you work even harder to share that vibration for others to break out of some can open up to more of a peaceful reality. It's like, yeah, but I still have to go through this. So they close it off, as you probably have seen that many times. That would become more clearer from your point of view. So technically, think of like in your locations, like you're on a mountain and you just see things more clearly. Maybe not everything, but you have an idea. So
Yes, I have a very good vantage point right now, and I have a lot of love to share, and a lot of also just like my beingness, like just my journey. I feel right now has it's become almost as important for me to just live for myself, and those also ripple out, those moments, those snapshots of my life that does ripple out and help people see or remember their contract, like their soul's desires, things they've put away for a long time. They've, tucked it away, their dreams. A lot of it has to do with dream weaving, like really dreaming the life that you want to live, like a spider, like building your web and weaving the life that you want. Where do you want to live? What do you want to actually do? Who do you want around you? I feel like I'm pouring that into the collective field with my beingness.
well, yeah, because your name is connected to water. So you're like a waterfall of the astral into the earth. But of course, you had to go through challenges of earth to understand where you're in, what world you're on. You have to go through your own challenges for to help unlock others from their own challenges. And it's like you connect to the code of the earth. But you've done enough of that now. So now the new energies are coming through you and others. And others still haven't quite, they can connect to their light, but they're not always understanding their light. They connect to a certain degree, but it's like, oh, yes, everything will be positive tomorrow or soon. And yes and no. Many still are going through a lot of great ordeals. They're not seeing the rest of the collective clearly as I think they do. So,
So that actually makes me think of a very important thread, which here happens to be egotism and spiritual performing. like spirituality, but only if other people are looking. It's rampant here, and I've only been here a couple of weeks. And it hurts me, like it really reaches me in places where I want to run. I know I'm not going to, but I want to run because I'm like, I want to see people like me here. And I know they're here, but they're few and far between. And so what I'm seeing is all of these showy, very outwardly performing spiritual people. They are on their journey also. Like, I understand that some of them have to go through that.
Mm-hmm.
So then they can learn, and so that also spirit can kick them in the butt and say, this is not okay. This is not who you actually are. Can you elaborate or just shed some
Yes.
light on this?
Well, many are coming in as actual trickster beings. That's their job, is to keep the vibrations low. That's why some get so popular and wealthy, because they're there to keep people away from themselves. That's not literally their job. But that can only last so long. And then the more the truth are unravels. But others that are going to the flashy, they think they are spiritual to a certain extent. They have not quite healed themselves, as you can see. And they're very narrow-minded. So it's just it's a growth. They can get to a certain level, but some of them are still connected to materialism, and they haven't quite let that materialism. A lot of it has to do with materialism. They can go further, but they kind of stop themselves from growing. So that's what you're feeling a lot. With your energy there, you connect more to the trees. You like to turn into the land itself. So finding others like yourself, eventually. You found the land, and that's similar to you.
Yeah.
So you have that.
Yeah, I have the dragons too.
Mm-hmm.
They're here with me. They're burning all around me and inside of me, and I know we're about to really take something to another level. I don't know quite what. Like you said, the map isn't fully formed, but they brought me here. Like, they literally shifted me almost in the blink of an eye, almost like it didn't even make sense, but it all worked. And I'm excited to go on that journey with them, because we haven't talked about Kukulkan, but this dragon spirit is one of the most important of the Mayans, of the Mayan lands, a Christed being, an ascended master. And I have little glimmers. I don't know if I've fully connected with this being, but I have glimmers of he, she, it is gonna come in and work with me.
Yes, you're still getting used to the land. I mean, yes, that being is working with you. Well, that's the being that called you there to begin with, it seems. So, yes, that energy will increase. Basically, yes. So you're seeing the human stubbornness in that land. But like they want you to see that before you connect more to your higher sense of being there. So the stubbornness is heavy, as you know, but you'll see another side over time.
I'm curious if we could explore the idea of Noah's Ark a little bit in relation to this place, because I've seen some symbolism. I even stayed in a hotel that was called Noah's Ark when I arrived on the lake. And I don't really think people truly understand that what's in the Bible, at least the most well-known and well-told stories, that it's actually Earth's history. and that it didn't just affect the Middle East, that it actually affected the entire planet. So any connections with Noah's Ark and the floods and these lands?
Well, those lands were flooded, of course. And the Noah's Ark story is to remember it can always happen again, as you probably have heard that saying. So it's show the that's when the world, forgot itself. It turned itself off, deactivated itself from. That's when the amnesia, you can say, fully kicked in. Of course, there was many cataclysms before that. The Noah's Ark energy is also showing that you can remember it too. So it's like a ship of all the animals, but it's really a Akashic knowledge that you're reconnecting to. So it shows that anything with the arc is just basically a Akashic knowledge of the past of when you had all your knowledge. So you're just reawakening to that. And the earth will change again. It has to. When humans begin to clear the amnesia, the earth will reformulate itself. It has no choice to the new vibrations of the human as it goes more higher vibration. But you'll just see things happen before it happens. Land masses will disappear and others will come into the earth. So basically humans are connecting back to their power. So that's what the Noah's Ark energy also just coming back into yourself, connecting more to your God powers, basically. And there will be humans here that aren't ready for that. Just like in the ancient world, there's just humans that are just not, they have the ability, they just can't seem to open that side of themselves. But many of you are doing that now, and more of that will continue.
So what will happen to the humans that aren't ready for that? Will they pass? They'll die?
Oh, but a lot of them will survive, though, also. Those that want to experience the strange transformations, oh yeah, a lot of them will survive it. They still won't understand it. It's like, I don't understand why this is all happening. It's like, that's okay. So you're along for the ride, apparently.
It'll
And
be like one of those big blockbuster movies like Independence Day or Armageddon, but like every day for them.
Yeah, it'll be, because as more of you humans reactivate to your powers, and you'll know it when it happens. Some feel like they're doing it, but they're not seeing any changes. Well, they might be a little bit ahead of themselves. Because you connect to all the love of yourself and no judgment. You're just connected to your power. And now's the time in the world for it to change. And there will be many humans that will die during the Earth's transformation, but they know that already. But others will survive it. Not everyone's going to. Yeah, those that aren't aware of all this, they're going to be through this too. So it's coming. There is a change coming for sure. So
what's the biggest, I guess, message for people who are excited about the changes that are coming? Like, what's the biggest message that you can give them to prepare?
Patience. Some are very impatient right now, as you probably have seen that. And they're so ahead of themselves. And that's the challenge, is knowledge. They know it's going to happen. No change is going to happen here for the better. Yes, there'll be some cataclysms that has to happen, but most likely in your lifetime, you'll see some kind of change. It might not be the aliens they're expecting, but it's the change that you're looking for, though, for the earth to remember itself, for the amnesia to finally leave. So some humans will be able to connect the aliens without a problem. They'll see them, but other people won't see them. Mm-hmm. And most likely, not everybody needs to see aliens. It just, not all of you see everything, right? You see, there are certain things that you can see that others don't see. You all see something different. So some are just locked into the alien energy. Some of you are connected to the elementals. You'll see them instead. Or the angels, it's.
Mm-hmm.
you see it's something different. That's always good. So
So patience and open-mindedness.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, because those that are aware of their higher selves, some of them are connecting more to their inner child, becoming more playful, childish, and some impatience is coming with that. Like, I want it now. The world's not ready for that yet. But the inner child energies help, the playfulness helps this new earth come in because the seriousness is now over. The seriousness is that you're at school, you're learning, but now you're releasing that school. So, okay, I've graduated. Now I can be a kid again. And as the higher dimensions start to re-enter the earth. It's just when you're learning, there is a sense of seriousness. This doesn't have to be all seriousness, but a lot of lessons. Some are going to have difficulties believing. Some are kind of just an intellectual way of looking at the world. That's what this is all going to be tough for them to take in.
Yeah. So that actually brings me to a question about the energy of the year of 2022. It is highlighted, or there's an overtone of feminine energy, right? Feminine, like the feminine leads again, or, like in balance, a balanced divine feminine, call it Gaia, call it the divine feminine planetary energy. But that intellectual piece that you just mentioned, to me, that reminds me a lot of where the masculine is stuck, because they can only see things as far as rationality and reason and knowledge and facts and science. And at the end of the day, if they're not feeling with their entire body, with their entire, all of their systems, all of their chakras, everything, they're gonna miss the point. They're gonna miss the boat.
That's why you're here. So, I believe you have some knowledge of this, but we'll bring it in. So, in the beginning, yes, it was a feminine, powerful energy here. Because female energies is basically like a portal vibration, as you know. You bring children into the earth, they're basically portal beings. You can use whatever word you want to use, but your energy beings. And when the earth was going to go into this amnesia, the feminine became more masculine, more domineering like a male. And so it kind of forgot that it had to do that. It had to break free. For the earth to forget, it has to kind of go to war with itself. The feminine goes against, becomes more masculine, puts a wall up, you can say. And that's where the masculine male comes in to, keep that. That was one of the reasons for the masculine, to keep the amnesia, keep the wall up. The schools of the physical dimension going to rule it, to keep, because the feminine couldn't handle it. It became too toxic. So the masculine, the male, came in to kind of calm down all that feminine power. And so the masculine became more of the dominance, energy of the rulers, your pharaohs, and because that was just to learn from the physical realm. Not that they're better, it's just that's the role. Now you can always switch those roles around in other realities, but that's how it was done here. So as males are discovering more of their other sexual self, the more the feminine's coming through. Some males are acting more female nowadays, and that's helping more of the feminine to come through the earth. Some males can't figure out themselves as the feminine gets stronger here, but it balances itself out eventually. So
Will the masculine collective? Will they actually see what the feminine is truly doing on this planet? Will they honor, our role and, and be our partner, like our the balance? Because we're doing this together. I'm not here in a female power but balanced form this lifetime because I want to domineer anything. Like, no, I just want this place to be balanced again.
Well, you're looking for the right balancing male energy that's similar to you. Yes, you can walk in together, you can say. So, yeah, it's like your feminine energy, and you find the right male to just, like I say, balance each other out. So yeah, it's not going to be a dominating. That's how it was in the past too. Is they're both, as you say, in the beginning, male and female were, yes, balanced, locked into each other, but then the masculine had to disconnect for all this to happen. So the feminine power was still very dominant for a long time until the feminine started to crack and become more masculine. So as you reemerge back to yourselves, that's what's happening right now. Slowly, of course. So, and more of that memory will come back, of course.
It's interesting that you brought up, of all of the types of places where we really saw like the masculine take over, you brought up the pharaoh energy of Egypt.
Yes.
Because I'm deeply connected to Egypt. I know the world really needs to remember pieces of Egypt, the long stretches of history there. The good, the bad, and the ugly, like just all of it. Just give it to us, like I really wish for people to believe that they're worthy to hear the truth, or to remember the truth themselves and to see it,
Yes, so there were giants in Egypt. There were avian beings. There were even some of the gods that you're seeing, in the hieroglyphs. Osiris, that was a giant being, basically. Some of them were. They appeared very large here. Not looking down at the human, but basically, I guess you could say, saying who's in charge, I guess. But that was for the new earth, or the new education system. They're here to bring in, the ancient gods of Egypt, was to build the foundation of what this world was going to be. That's why it was not removed. Babylon did the same thing, but it was too higher dimension to be remembered. So when it connected to Egypt, it became, even the Phoenicians became part of Egypt also. Egypt was just to stay alive, to help you remember, basically. You need some kind of, point where you can look at. It's like, there's more going on here than what we're being told. So it's just, it was where you say Egypt was where the fall of man occurred and where it's going to remember itself again. So it played a big role in that. You can say that's where the decision was made where humans are going to forget. That's why the Library of Alexandria was burned, so you can forget. Well, this happened. Even in South America, there's a lot of ancient sites there. Just here's some pieces of your past. So, and much of that will be reactivated over time.
Do you think people are ready if some of these gods actually return?
Some people will be, yes. When the time is right. You're getting there. Many of them are reluctant to show themselves because of the fear if they do start appearing again. But they are appearing to people now, individually.
Mm-hmm. I'm getting really strong Osiris. Like, I
Mhm.
don't know if he's gonna return, but you brought him up, and he's the
Mhm.
one that's in my mind right now of like, I'm coming back.
Well, yeah, he was part of humanity forgetting itself also, but never leaving. Or Osiris is very connected to Yeshua and many of the figures of the past.
Mhm.
So this, according to this Osiris, it all happened the way it was intended to. So this everyone has their own way of coping with the traumas here. So when this world does heal itself, there'll still be souls here that have not healed. So they'll go to other places in the universe to still, like, remember all the stuff he put me through? We're here to heal that. so, so of course, healing this world is another. That's going to take a lot, as you know. So the message really is to be yourself. Obviously, can't be yourself publicly with everybody. uh, for your own safety and their mental health. But overall, still be yourself. Don't be ashamed to be you, though.
Mhm. And that includes your voice.
Mhm.
As we're talking about Egypt, throat chakra of the planet, it's what helped me really remember that I could speak my truth. I didn't realize how important going to Egypt. On some level I knew, but I on the 3D level I just thought it would be a massive spiritual adventure. But it changed everything in my life. Like, just the way these lands in the Americas, also being in the very early part of my spiritual path, they also changed everything because I was touching these sacred pyramids and connecting and feeling, just feeling, not knowing everything, not knowing the whole story, but I was inviting it into my field and into me, and it changed the trajectory of my life.
So that was an activation. But even being there, you knew it was like, humanity can't handle my truth, can they? So now you are where you are. So you're still doing it. It's just you're doing it through energy. Sharing your truth. Eventually you'll meet, the right people that are similar to you. Well, to do that, you'll have to move. I mean, not out of the area, but have to move locations in the area. You have to move to the right place. There might be several moves for that to work. You'll know. You'll be guided. You'll just know. It's like, wow, this place looks familiar. No, because they want you happy to where you are to do what you need to do. So, and just bring you over there for nothing. So,
Could we connect with the Mayan consciousness for our last few questions? Just the overarching Mayan
yes,
consciousness collective.
yes, we can do that. Yes, blessings too.
Thank you.
Brings you. They are the Mayan consciousness. We'll just say this. Somebody get a humor out of it, a laugh. The story of Pinocchio. That does happen a lot with people and their looks. Like when you stop telling the truth. Now I understand you can't always tell the truth. We understand that. Like there's things you just gotta keep, you know. But when you're actually lying to people and just doing things like, oh, you really should not be doing this, your looks do change. You might not grow a long nose, but your hair might fall out, or the hardest one is when you're lying to yourself all the time. And you're not always ready for your own truth. That's like, wow, am I just not loving myself or something? It's not to get at you. It's just that when you lie to yourself, that's probably the biggest lie of them all. But that's the hardest one. People aren't really ready to love themselves. And so they wonder why they have these health ailments. And a lot of just cause they just don't want to wake up to the higher dimension. You came here to open up to the higher dimensions, but then you came here liking the physical realms. Like, that's not what you came here for, though. Some people go against their contracts and then they get sick. Because they know they are ready. They just choose. Some back off. They back down on their contract where they came from. That's why some people in their health or physical appearance change dramatically. So
I have a question about when people start going down this road of being inauthentic, and they're having too much fun in the physical, and they're not listening to their actual soul, their guides, the purpose, why they're here. Does that make them even more susceptible to outside energies and entities than using them as a shell of a human for other agendas?
right. There's nothing wrong with enjoying your physical life. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You can do is just you, but that's the other thing. Some feel like they can, say their truth, but then they talk about their personal lives publicly to everybody. Like, I'm not afraid to talk about my love life in front of everyone, but the rest of the world probably doesn't care, unless it's like a deep healing there. Like wow, this I don't normally talk about this stuff, but you guys should hear about it because I feel like this will help others. So, but you are correct though. Many that just enjoy the physical and they shut off their point of reason of being here. And they deny, but then they get brought to spiritual groups, as you've probably seen. But they say, nah, this is all nonsense, or whatever it is. Or you have a brother that's open spiritually, and it's like, no, I'm not accepting that world. And then they already have illness already, and it gets worse. It doesn't mean that, it's just that you chose to open yourself up, to open others up, and then you change your mind. So there's a lot of that happening here. Yes, and they do get hijacked, and it goes on and on. Yeah.
So I'm feeling to ask about the karma, the specific karma that this conqueror energy that's replaying, I feel, its history here in the Mayan lands, and specifically where I live. This energy of, oh, that looks really great. What a great life. What a beautiful place. There's a lot of abundance there. I'm going to go take it. Can you tell us a little bit or elaborate on that conqueror, I don't know, archetype, or
Oh,
it's a consciousness, it's a collective that I feel is really active in the Americas right now?
I mean, those that want to take over land, things like that, they want to, yes, as you know, colonialism, the queen or someone's queen somewhere, Spain, England, and don't think they're not going to get karma for that. It will find them eventually. It might be in another lifetime, but it will find them. So taking over land, like what happened to Indians in the Americas, or as you know, without going into details around the rest of the world, it's showing that part of that was also to prolong the physical realm. It's like, I'm gonna take that beautiful tree and tear it down and make it into a house because I don't want this physical realm to end. And you can say the universe allowed it because it just had some different universal laws there. It's like, okay, now they're going in this direction, but then there's ramifications for that too. It's like, by the way, after doing that, there will be consequences to building that, housing district where there really wasn't needed one. We understand people need to live, but it's the way it's done is done in a way of just so much selfishness and destruction. But there's consequences to those that build those places. Now, those that are living in it, not really. I mean, you might feel some depending on the person. But the Conqueror energy is just some of that's Anunnaki. But that was kind of the point also for the physical realm. Take it where you have it for this amount of time. You can do a lot of good here, or you can just do horrible things. They're literally allowed to do that. Some are. Obviously, they did it. Taking out the Indians wasn't a good idea, but that was to make the world more physical in the United States, was to remove the spiritual energies and just have a concrete world, basically.
So when you say to make it more physical, what you mean is also like to make us more in a lower density.
Yes.
Yeah.
More of an archetype. Yeah, a house is like architecture, which keeps you locked in. There's nothing wrong with the physical realm. Absolutely nothing wrong. It's used as a weapon to those that don't want to experience it. So it's forcing everybody to live where they don't want to live. So those of you becoming more spiritual, yes, you'll find, live in a mud house or something like that. But according to this world, that's wrong, or it's opening up little by little, but more of that can happen. So.
And what about those that they didn't come and build and take over the land, but they took the riches from these lands.
Yeah.
Then they went back and built churches and cathedrals and I don't know, just whole cities, but they raped and pillaged and left, a blood tear. What is that called? Like the Trail of Tears or something like that in the US.
Yes. Well, yeah, you're seeing that also in your devices, also the phones. You're kind of seeing that, and it's those that are building it. Those that build something like that, it will come back to them eventually. Yeah, they do it for selfish reasons to control the earth. Those cathedrals are basically just to mentally control it. Look at that beautiful cathedral. They must know what they're doing. And then they control the mindset. And then the mindset goes into the Pope. And the Pope controls others, and it's just mind control. And they know it. And it does get back to them. I believe Pope John Paul, that was more of a letter. He did the best he could to heal the situation. He also used it as a way to counter a lot of the darkness that was there. He did his best. I mean, part of him is still kind of guilty for being in that position, but it's like when you're in a position like that, you can also do good. So he used it and others have not done that since. A lot of ways, he's like the JFK of popes, you can say. We're seeing he didn't go as far as like unlocking the Vatican and all that, but I think that was a little bit over. Yeah, that was something. Yeah, I don't think it was impossible for him to do that. But he lived among his means. But yes, the cathedrals are basically just others people see it as different power stations. They see different versions of it. But really it comes down to just mind control in the long run. But it does go back to the Vatican when it comes to the cathedrals. Because people tune into the Vatican, and you see how many people go there or they're affected by it. And it's just, you're talking about a mind control program that's more powerful than television.
Church, definitely. Religion.
It's more powerful even than other religions. Other religions are still very powerful, but this one's highly more toxic, as you know. So, and as that heals, you say the creature behind it will become more seen because it's not human. Far from it. How can something human do something like that? It's just a very clever, you can say machine creature, some would say a mistake. Everyone has their version of it. It is connected to the Akashic text, though. Or sorry, the Gnostic text. Gives you a little bit of a glimpse of what's in the Catholic Church.
The beast?
Yes. Yeah. So you say the being of the apocalypse, you could say, not the apocalypse.
Yeah.
That's, more fear, of course.
Are we living in actual apocalyptic times?
Yes, but you don't have to look at it that way. But yes.
Okay.
It's like Armageddon time period in some ways. But don't look at it that way. It doesn't, you don't have to look at it that way if you don't. But,
I
you
mean,
see how.
it's nice to see all sides, like if that's really what's happening, that is a reality. That is a timeline. I need to be aware of it, and then I can decide how I show up every day and where I put my energy.
Well, then if you need to know what's happening here, it's basically, like I said, the devil is running the religion, or the Catholic religion.
Yeah.
Very powerful being. Has no remorse and is just being himself. And it is a he. You can say there's a she there too, but it's definitely he, just showing his power over the people and not ashamed of it at all. But as you start opening up yourselves, you'll start to see that more clearly.
So I want to bring it back to these lands, because I feel like the reason this is even coming up is because, a lot of my indigenous, more connected ancestors to the land, to to more of a balanced earth, in the best they could in the times that they were living over here. They all got trampled by the Catholic Church. They all got trampled, conquered, manipulated, forced. I mean, everything that you would never wish upon anybody that you love happened to my ancestors. And all of these indigenous peoples of the Americas, yes, also many other parts of the world. Yes, the Catholics did horrible things in Europe. We know that. The Inquisition, we know that. But I think the reason it's coming up here is because there is a voice still, like a collective of indigenous pain in these lands.
Yes, definitely.
That they just want to be acknowledged, like this fucking happened, beware, it happened. And then live your life, in a better way, because we don't want to repeat those mistakes again.
Yes, it's done. It's swept under the rug of history. It's not mentioned. So it's kind of forgotten, at least mainstream forgotten. So mainstream history is no different than mainstream media. They put in a piece of paper, they write it down, and then they move on. It's like, no, that's not how it works exactly. You heal the past because they don't want you to heal the past, so they can continue to do what they're doing. So healing the past is, acknowledging it, healing it, and removing all the control that it left there. That's what's happening now. Slowly, of course.
So could you share a little bit about what's my true role here for this chapter that I'm going to be on the lake or in the surrounding Mayan lands? Because I do take my mission very seriously with this podcast, with everything that I do, with how I show up for myself and for others. And yeah, even to be brave enough to talk about the beast on a podcast in this day and age. You know, I'm willing. I'm here.
Mm. Well, it's first off, just be yourself. You're still getting used to the energies there. You will go to a place where you know you need to be and be there for a long time. Maybe not forever, but you'll be there for a while. Some kind of village you'll be connected to, and where you feel like you can talk to people a bit more. It's going to, you'll meet people there that you feel like you can, know eye to eye with. So, and basically just talking to other people and just connecting to the land and just making it your home. And what else? Everything else will come into place eventually.
So it's almost like focus on the human aspects and
Yes.
the human joys, and that will just put everything into place.
Yeah, you're going to do the spiritual work. So yeah, now continue on. Just be yourself, basically. Yeah. You'll be guided, as you know.
Any last words for the star seeds and the light workers and the people that are ready for change, just the ones that will tune in and make it all the way to the end? I always like to ask for one final message for them.
Well, just there's more to be, it's good to be patient. You still have difficulties with that, but just allow the energy to flow. It will come to you when the time is right of what you're here for, and everything will come into place. To some do get ahead of themselves. Just find, living, where find your happiness. And your happiness will, some feel like they're not doing enough, but you're here, you're dealing with life's challenges. You don't really see any other doors opening. If you see a door, then please open it. But if you don't, you're living it. You are in your space. You are where you need to be. So right.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
blessings.
Many blessings. All right. Greeks.
Hi, Ivan. How you feeling?
That's good. Yeah. Well, it was different. That's for sure. Like it went places that aren't as it normally go. So that's good.
I can always do that for you. I can always take you to new places.
So.
I feel like we did a lot. We traveled, even places I didn't know were gonna come up, like Egypt, and I'm really grateful because I don't know, I have a renewed sense of just hope for everything that's still to come.
Yeah.
We will see in our lifetime here.
Yeah, we'll see something eventually. Just be open to what it is. So many people want the aliens to show up, but it's our world, so we're the ones that make the rules. So we'll see what the collective is willing to happen. So,
well, thank you so much, Ivan.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. So.
It's always such a wild journey with you, and
that's good.
Sending lots of gratitude from Guatemala. Yeah. Until the next one.